Welcome to everyone who's tuned into this channel, this podcast. Last night I laid out my college picks for tomorrow, and today we're going to get with the NFL. I'm Ernest. I'm a tribal elder for the Sonic tribe, playing my demos in the background. Keep it down to a low roar so you can get through this if it's not your thing. Anyway, we go to the NFL this week, second week, September 15th, 2024. Start out with the first game, 10 o'clock game, Tampa Bay at Detroit. Tampa Bay getting 7.5 points. In this game here, last year, it looks like it's going to be a rerun from what it was last year. Same players. I think Detroit's improved. Tampa Bay is probably about the same. I don't see Mayfield keeping up with Detroit. I don't see them running the ball, so it's going to be on his shoulders. I don't really. I mean, if it's 7.5, that number, I mean, if you don't like that half point, you think that half point might be what gets you. This is a perfect teaser situation where, okay, you don't like 7.5, how about 1.5? You go ahead and tease Detroit on this one, and it's about as solid as I can see it. As far as the total, I'm not going to go there on this one. Next 10 o'clock game, we have the Jets laying 3.5 points at Tennessee. The total is 41. And in this situation here, at first, I'm looking at, I think that Rodgers still has enough to come through against mediocre or worse teams. Against last week, what we saw against San Francisco, well, San Francisco is a higher level team with a higher level defense. It was to be as expected, okay? And so I'm not giving up on Rodgers. I think he can actually pull this game out, but then there's a question that with Derrick Henry running the ball for Tennessee, last year Tennessee outran New York by over 100 yards. So this is just going to make it worse for New York. This is going to be a tough battle here. I can see Tennessee running the ball and not giving Rodgers a real chance to do much. So in this game here, I would say I would just probably not play this one, because even though I have faith in Rodgers, that running game might overwhelm the Jets this week, so I'm not going to play this one. The third game is Seattle laying 3 points at New England. Now, in this, I don't have that faith in Geno Smith. I never really did. I was surprised that he came back and became an established, stable quarterback. Above average in sometimes and sometimes not. Last week we saw him, he didn't really put up good numbers. He put up one touchdown in the fourth quarter, which made the difference. But I'm not sold on him. And on New England, we don't know what to expect. They came out pretty strong last week, and so that's a question mark. Another situation where I just don't see a play on this one. Okay, now the next game, another 10 o'clock game, you got Cleveland getting 3 points at Jacksonville. The total is 41.5 points. And I think last week Lawrence threw picks there. And neither team looks like they can run the ball. So, by the way, Jacksonville is getting about 7 out of 10 of the bets. So that tells you how much they think of Cleveland. Even though Cleveland is supposed to have a good defense, The difference is you got Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson, and in this, I mean, I wouldn't bet on this game because I don't like to bet on games that I'm not sure about the teams and or the key players. So if you want to bet on this one, I would put a slight lean on Jacksonville, just because Cleveland is really a train wreck right now. Now the fifth game is another 10 o'clock game. You got San Francisco laying 5 at Minnesota. Now, I've always seen San Francisco having a harder time playing an early game in the Central or East Coast. I've seen that's historical. And in this case here, even though they're getting over 2/3 of the place bets, you have to question, okay, Darnold was with the Niners last year, and he was, like he didn't do enough for them to think they wanted to keep him, so that might be some motivation. Minnesota looked pretty sharp last week. And then you got Niners. You've got that running back Watson that just lit it up last week, and then that Ayuk. I don't know how to pronounce Brendan Ayuk, the receiver that just signed. He had a subpar game, so he might be motivated. This game here, I wouldn't think the Niners are just going to come out and blow them out. I would just give them a slight lean because, like I said, we're not sure if Minnesota's for real. We know that the Niners, I really, like I said, they'd be happy to get out with under a touchdown win on this one. And I'm never comfortable with that kind of laying points on a team that goes on the road. And then you've always got the possibility of that home team getting that backdoor cover late in the fourth quarter. So in this one here, I'm just giving San Francisco a slight lean in this one. The next game, we got another 10 o'clock game. You got Indianapolis laying 2.5 at Green Bay, and the total is 40.5. Now, we all know what happened to Green Bay's quarterback. That's a shame. We don't know. I would have definitely leaned on a strong lean on Green Bay had he not gone down. Indy seems to be able to put up points. I think they'll put up some points here. They haven't played in the last 3 years, so we don't really have a good idea how the line play is going to go. I would have to think that in this game here, I might slightly Indy, but then again, I think Green Bay is going to be able to run the ball in Indy like most everybody else. So you have two contradicting factors here that I would consider this either a no play. And I mean, that would be the best. I really don't see you could depend on Indy to actually win the game when they're getting run on and they're suspect to it. I would no play it. I guess I'm wasting too much time on this one pick. And we go to the Chargers at Carolina. They're laying 5. The total was 38. And this one here, the Chargers are a work in progress. Herbert, he could be he looks like he could be a solid quarterback long term, but it's too early to put him in that camp. Carolina, I mean, they are what they are. Another no play on this game. Now, we have a 1 o'clock game. We have the Giants going to Washington. They're getting 1.5 points, which doesn't really mean much. The total was 43.5. And on this one, I'm going to lean with Washington. They look pretty, prepared last week. But you can't trust either quarterback. But last year, Washington did run the ball pretty well on New York. So on that alone, and being at home, you got to go with the strong lean if you want to bet on two low-level teams. I mean, that's something I really don't like to do. I wouldn't bet on it, but if you're a fan of Washington, go ahead and lay the 1.5. The next game you got at Las Vegas at Baltimore. Las Vegas is getting 8.5 points. And the total is 41.5. You got the betting at 3/4 of the money's going to Baltimore, and you got 2/3 of it's going to the over. So I mean, here it's pretty clear to me that I don't think Minshew is going to be able to withstand the Baltimore pass rush. San Diego ran over 175 yards last week against Vegas, and Baltimore ran 185 yards against. So, and then the over 2. How many points do you think Baltimore is going to score? Because it's almost like they're going to score as much as they want on this game. So, I mean, once again, you got to lean on the Baltimore strong lean, slight lean on the over on this game. Now, the next game you have the Saints, New Orleans, getting 6 points at Dallas, and the total is 46.5 points. Now, on face value, you would think that, Dallas all the way. They're going to win this game big time. Well, I don't know. I mean, you've got the totals going at 3 out of 4 saying over, and you got the sides at 2 out of 3 saying Dallas. Okay? When you look at the box score for Dallas, they didn't really do a lot offensively. They've got some, turnovers to their advantage, and they actually didn't really look that impressive offensively last week. So in this case here, New Orleans scored a lot of points last week against a weak team. Dallas had weak stats against a weak team. So I would be careful on actually thinking Dallas is a lock on either the total or the side. I would be careful on it. If you want to tease them, they're at home, okay, but New Orleans, we're not sure what they're going to do. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball, and Carr is not very efficient when he's being harassed. So, I mean, that one right there, in my opinion, you might lean slightly on Dallas on a tease, or strongly on a tease, but nothing else. I wouldn't do anything else. And so, next game, you've got the Rams getting a point at Arizona. And here, you've got 2/3 of the money going on LA and the over. Another thing, it's another thing to watch. The Rams have a lot of injuries on their offensive line, and there's a question mark on Murray. She's got an injury that may be significant or not. It's hard to tell. This is all question mark to me. This is why I really don't want to. I mean, the number 48 is high, but if neither team are playing the way they should. The next game is 1 o'clock game. Pittsburgh laying 3 against Denver in Denver. The total is 36.5 points. Now, in this game here, it's a pedestrian, field. Pittsburgh seems to be, if not really, they seem to be stable and steady, if not spectacular. They're not really anything other than above pedestrian. And Denver, well, that quarterback's still, we're not sure about him. So you either slight lean on Pitt or no play on this one. Okay? So, anyway, the next 1 o'clock game, we have Cincinnati getting 6 points at Kansas City. And the total is 48. And because of the question on Burrow, I mean, the Burrow that we saw last week, okay, but still, there's a question against a top team. How's this wrist holding out? The last 2 years they played, that KC was able to contain them, and I don't see a reason why they won't do it again this game. So, yeah, you wanna. I got a strong lean on KC because, hey, if on a teaser, that's a very strong lean. I mean, it's only like -1. And so Cincinnati, they can run the ball they did. Well, it's going to be a game, but still, is it going to be a shootout? The question mark is on Burrow. So once again, strong lean with a teaser on KC in this one. After that, I'm not sure. And last, on the Monday night game, you got Chicago going to Houston, and they're getting 6.5 points, and the total is 45. Chicago beating Tennessee, that's a minimal indicator. There's nothing there. They had actually Chicago only scored 10 offensive points last week. One was an interception return. Another one was a punt return for a touchdown. That's 14. That gave them their total of 24. So, I mean, this guy, Caleb Williams, I mean, he hasn't done anything yet in the regular season for us to start jumping on their bandwagon. And Houston, well, they're getting highly touted, okay? And so in this game here, I can see the number going up to 8 by halftime, by game time. And to me, that's a limit. And if it goes over, I mean, if it was 10 or over, I wouldn't touch it. I would think that once again, go ahead and tease that number, and you got you got a half a point. It's basically a pick 'em. So that's a good solid teaser. You think Houston's going to take charge and dominate? I wouldn't say that's a bad bet. I would just say that's not one that I really would think is a solid lock. All right, so that way you be on your on your what you consider. Now, so anyway, to recap what I have for today, what I've said, you got Detroit as a teaser, a solid teaser. You got Jacksonville as a slight teaser, because once again, those mediocre to lesser teams, you don't really want to risk a lot. You like to depend on the consistent, strong teams, the ones that are going to play to the end and have a good shot to pull it out. Those are the teams that you want to concentrate on, not these ones where you're not sure. Or just weaker teams, two weaker teams. Well, this weaker team is better than the other weaker team. That's not a good way to do it. I wouldn't do it. Anyway, so you got San Francisco. To me, it's a lean. It's not a strong lean. Like I said, they're on the road. The time zone situation is not in their favor, but they're a top team, and they should find a way to pull it out. Another one here, Indy, yeah, to a point. But once again, you have two lesser teams. The quarterbacks are not really proven. So I'll retract that. It's, Washington, I see that as a strong or at least a pretty solid tease, because they're at home and they're going to run the ball. And I'll take Washington on that one. Baltimore, like I said, they're solid and they could run the score. They can go into the 30s. I don't see Vegas going past 20, if at all. 17 maybe might be a number that they might. I don't see Minshew going into Baltimore, and he might not even last the whole game. I mean, so Pittsburgh at Denver, to me, is either a Pittsburgh slight lean or no play. Okay, Pittsburgh, they seem to be steadier going in late into the game than Denver. And Cincinnati, KC, I have a lean on KC and a slight lean on the under. Because, my question on Burrow, I'm just not going to see this as a shootout game where, the last team with the ball ends up winning the game. I'm not going to see that. And finally, everybody loves Houston Monday night, and I don't see a reason why they don't win the game. But once again, you either tease the number, or I'm not going to pronounce them as a top contender right away. Maybe in another 2 games, if they're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat, well, okay, we'll do that. But until then, I'm going to, withhold everything. We're getting into the 3rd, 4th week, 5th week. These are the best times. So once you start off the gate. We saw what happened last week. Some of these teams laid an egg on the first week that we thought were going to win by double digits or more. And so it's never a good idea to put a big chunk of your bankroll on the first week of any season, of any league. We saw what happened in college. So, no. Those are my picks for Sunday, September 15th, 2024. And I'm going to come back Monday. I'm going to review both college and pro, see where I was right and see where I was wrong. And once again, it's up to you. Check these picks out. Do your own research. The wager is the one responsible for whether he's successful or not. Okay? But if you like what I'm doing, come back, visit, listen to what I have to say, leave comments, give me likes or everything that, I'll keep doing this. Because, like I said, I'm the senior tribal elder of Sonic Tribe. You heard some of my demo stuff in the background, and I'll keep it to a low roar so that way it won't drive off the music purist. And anyway, thank you for listening and paying attention to my take, and good luck. We'll see you again.